Okay, so it's 1 o'clock, a special time for what's going on here on LaGuardia Radio, WLGR. I'm your host, Hugo Fernandez, and we got a special show today for this special time. We are going to be talking to Akrm Ahmed and Gonezie, who are both LaGuardia students who participated in the LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative's global project of providing clean water, hygiene, and sanitation to the villagers in South Sudan during COVID-19. And they're going to share their experiences of being part of this project. But say hello. Who wants to go first? Gonezie or Akrm?
Gonezie, please.
Hi, good morning. My name is Gonezie. I'm a student at LaGuardia, a business administration student. And I was part of the LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative all through the spring semester, yes.
And Akrm?
Hi, my name is Akrm Ahmed. Currently, I'm studying civil engineering. It's been a dream of mine to build new cities, sustainable and more efficient, because it's important to the environment as well as our own public health. I got sort of involved in the initiative through my advisor, Stefania Dinu, who exposed me to it. And ever since then, I've just been volunteering my time with the efforts, coming up with great new ideas and engaging students to donate, to get involved in any way that they can. And I even gave them the idea to join this radio show, because I've heard you before. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because, I got interested in doing this show, obviously, because I work with Tuli Chatterjee from the English department, who a lot of names today. I don't know if I've ever pronounced Tuli's last name. I hope I got it right. Does it sound right? Chatterjee?
It sounds right. Yeah.
That's about good. And I wanted to just check with you guys. The name of the town is also Wow. Is that how I would pronounce it? Wow.
South Sudan.
South Sudan. But when Tuli, we worked together on many things, and I was supposed to be a part of a previous event. I don't know what happened, and but it was her idea to have you two on. You want to talk a little bit though about your backgrounds, like where you're from, and you talked a little bit about your studies, but talk a little about where you're from. Gonezie?
So I'm from Ivory Coast in Africa. So that's what one of the students really touched me, because it was in South Sudan, Africa. And I really relate to the problem, the issues that are there. So I was born in Ivory Coast, and I think when I was about 9 years old, I moved to Europe, because immigration is really big in Africa. So a lot of us, we immigrate to other countries to have better chances for our future, especially. And then about 1 year ago, I moved to the United States.
I'm guessing when you immigrated to Europe, you went to France?
Yes. To Belgium.
Oh, to Belgium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also a French-speaking country. So
right.
Yes, when a French-speaking African country they go to Europe, is always to French-speaking countries, European countries. Yes.
Well, the Ivory Coast was originally a French colony, right?
Mm-hmm.
They colonized it
Yes.
in the 19th century, 20th. Excuse me, 18th.
Yes.
Bad memories, right?
Yes, and very recently, like in 1965, I think, or something, 60. So it's very recent. Yes.
Right. And I guess I'll ask a question. Why United States? Why did you leave Belgium?
It was for my father work. So
I see.
He had a better opportunity there. So all the family moved in the United States.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Akrm, yeah. You want to talk about your background?
Sure. My parents are from Yemen, which is right across the Red Sea from Sudan. I was born and raised here in Manhattan, New York. Let's see. I actually moved back there when I was 13, back to Yemen, and I've had to take that trek to get water back home. So I'm familiar with the journey, that mile to 4 mile walk to a water source, a clean water source. But even then, we had there was a pipe sort of in a well that was exposed. It was maybe a foot off of the ground. It just looked like a regular faucet, and we would walk there whenever we stayed at my aunt's house, and we would fill up these jugs and carry them back. And everyone that I saw along the way were kids, mostly getting the water, fetching the water. So it was at the time, I didn't really think much of it. I was 13 years old. It was just a thing that needed to be done. But, as I grew up and, I understood the importance and the relevance of it. And then having this pop up in LaGuardia, I had to connect. I had to do something because I was aware of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, Gonezie had mentioned that she's a business major. What's your major, Akrm?
Civil engineering.
You did mention it before. Actually, that's very timely. The civil engineering is it makes sense to put these two things together. Mm-hmm. I've forgotten what the date is. Maybe you might have this answer. We lost Gonezie's visual feed. I think that's going to happen on and off. Though actually, I see her on the Twitch stream, so maybe it's just my feed. But what is it, like a third of the planet has issues with water access? Is it clean water access?
Clean water, yeah.
Is that the number? What, like 33% of the planet?
Yes, exactly.
Probably more, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably even higher than that
yes, I think.
Because here in the United States, we take clean water for granted, right?
Definitely.
That's a problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got involved with this. Are there any other projects that you've been involved with on campus or is this one of the first things that you've gotten involved with as what we call an extracurricular activity?
Yeah, this is definitely not the first thing I got involved with. I work as an ASAP ambassador. You can see it on my shirt.
Very good.
I get students enrolled in college and hopefully get them to sign up with ASAP so that they could complete their degree within 3 years, so that they could continue their academic career in a 4-year college as soon as possible. I actually spoke with Dr. Bandiera. She was on your show a few years ago now.
Yes.
Nancy, yeah. I got involved with the Labyrinth Walk, the meditative walk. There's a few things I wanted to start, implementing into the college, but because of the coronavirus lockdown, I had to pull away from a lot of my ideas. But I'm keeping them in reserve just in case. Yeah.
So you're involved in a lot of things. Again, civil engineering and the Labyrinth, maybe those things go together as well, right?
I try to, everything that I get involved in, I try to connect it. So
that's good work.
That way it's like
And I take it you're an ASAP student as well then?
Yes.
Not just an ambassador. How about you, Gonezie? What other kinds of activities have you been involved with besides the Sudan Water Project? Anything else?
Yeah, I am now a CUNY Service Corps ambassador. I did the CUNY Service Corps from fall 2019 to spring 2019. So it was very interesting. We with my advisor Jacqueline Nava, we were put into non-profit organization. So we basically volunteer to non-profit organization around New York City to really help the community, and it was very, very enriching opportunity. Yes, because I learned a lot. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I was just going to say, names. Any particular not-for-profits that you were involved with?
Yes, it was After School All Stars.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, very good. I used to run an after-school program, so I have a little bit of. I think I remember that name. They might be involved with MSG or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with this project. How did you get involved? I mean, how were you originally? I don't know whether you recruited or you volunteered. How did it work?
You want to go first, Gonezie?
Yeah, Gonezie, go ahead.
So it was through the CUNY Service Corps program. So during the COVID virus, we couldn't go to the sites, so to volunteer. So our advisor Yaki Nava put us into team to work on projects, and that's when I learned about the LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative and Water for Students, for staff students. So I was put in the program. We started doing flyers to fundraise, to make workshops so people could learn more about the initiative. So it was it was very, very fun to me. Mhm.
Be a part of.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it. What's going on? You think she's going in and out?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No, it's fine, Gonezie. There was like a pregnant pause there that just kind of kept going.
Oh no!
In the business, we call it dead air, but that's okay.
Okay.
You were done with your sentence, so we'll go on.
I gotta take notes.
How about you, Akrm?
So I got involved through my advisor again, Stefania. She's part of the she's an ASAP advisor, and she started this SHAPE program, or she's a part of it. And I tried to create a logo for that, but I was too busy with all my classes. I've been taking full enrollment since I've been in LaGuardia. She told me about the Water for South Sudan initiative, and I thought I'd join it, but I was taking, again, 6 classes per semester. This semester I signed up for another 6.
Are you in a hurry? Are you in a hurry to get out or something?
Soon as possible.
Is there something you got to build that I'm unaware of?
Yeah, well,
with your degree.
I feel like I'm what's considered a non-traditional student. It's not like I'm right out of high school. So I've been in college before. It didn't go too well for me the first time around. I took a break. I volunteered with nonprofits through the time. I've always felt like it was weird to accept money to do humanitarian work, if that sounds weird or strange. But yeah, in that time period, I've been exposed to a lot of how the nonprofit sector works, how engagement with government agencies and private companies go hand in hand. And when I saw these students in the CUNY Corps, just with their tables and their canisters asking people for money, and it looked like it wasn't going too well, I thought I'd just jump in and help. I found a few students, they had a hard time approaching people. Yeah, so it was just like it seemed like they were uncomfortable, maybe they were shy. And it's something that you have to work over in order to be successful at. And I've always had an easy time just approaching people and asking them to get involved with things.
Asking them for money?
Naturally. Yeah. We call it fundraising, right?
Yeah, well, it's a peculiar thing to do, and you're right. It takes practice, and I think also, well, I mean, I guess the question is to even take it back even farther, like why? So you're such a busy guy, Gonezie. I don't know if I'm guessing you're busy. Why did you get involved, for example, in the CUNY Cultural Corps to begin with, or why are you involved? I'm trying to understand that, whatever you want to call it, that whatever it is, desire or to do this. I mean, is it because I got to tell you, it's not a classic New Yorker kind of thing, or it's not even a classic late adolescent thing to do, which is to do something, call it altruism, doing something where there is no, like you said, a monetary payoff for doing it. It's basically you're doing it for love, in a sense.
I mean, think about it like this, right? When the pandemic hit, in the beginning, as soon as we were exposed to it, the first thing that was told to us was to wash our hands, right? To wash our hands and keep our distance. So going back to that, it's just like, all right, do this simple action, wash your hands. You need clean water to do that. And then you realize, you take it for granted because we just turned a faucet. But some people have to walk miles and miles just to get, and it's not even clean water, it's just water at that. And they can't even perform the simple action that would prevent this virus from spreading.
So you're responding to the need.
Yeah.
You were like kind of taken by, it was presented before you, and you realized the importance. So how about you, Gonezie? why did you ever get involved with the CUNY Cultural Corps to begin with? Excuse me, not Cultural Corps. That's something I'm involved with. Service Corps.
Yes. I know, yes, the Cultural Corps with artwork stuff, yes. It's just because I feel like I just want to be helpful and be doing something, because I don't know. I feel like now I'm in a better position. Like I'm in a better, like, back in Ivory Coast it was harder, of course, and I kind of understand what people are going through, what's going on, and I just want to be a part of it and help how much I can with just my little stuff. And it can change. Like, more people are aware of the initiatives and what's going on, the more we can help people. And yes.
Okay, got it. So let's talk about the initiative then. Okay, so obviously Gonezie moved into it from the Cultural Corps. Akrm, you saw a group of students involved in something that looked interesting and spoke to you, but also needed help. So tell us about a little more about the things you're doing. Gonezie talked a little bit about making flyers, but what else is involved here? I mean, for example, is there a research component to this where you have learned a little bit about the village? Tell us about the village.
Oh, we could go on about that.
That's what I want you to do. This is an hour show here.
Definitely, yeah, there's definitely history there.
we got time, brother. Right? Go ahead.
No, there's definitely a very important historic content to the initiative as well. If you go into it, ever since I think it was 1985, Sudan has been experiencing some turmoil politically.
Civil war, right? It's a civil.
Yeah.
Though I think it's religious, though, isn't it? It's between the Christians and the Muslims.
Yeah, that's correct. But as soon as I started researching, of course, there's always foreign interests involved, and I don't want to get too it. Yeah, I don't want to go too deep.
Post-colonialism, we call it.
Yeah. That's the paradigm, right? It's everything we're trying to, I guess, move forward from something that it pretty much engulfed the whole world, right?
Right.
Colonialism, imperialism, it captured parts of the world and changed everything for better or worse, and we're still learning how to navigate through that. And there's been back-to-back civil wars in South Sudan, and I think 2011 they decided to split because the southern region was very it wasn't these mainstream religious practices, and it was a very different from the northern part. The northern part is more of this like desert, arid landscape, but it's more industrial, whereas the south is more agricultural. So it's similar to a lot of the issues we see here in America too, right? The industrial part was the north, southern part was agricultural, different practices, different ideologies. But the thing that really made it an issue was oil. They found oil in South Sudan, and political interests. The political elite in the north were getting more power than the people in the south were. So there was a lot of unrest because of that. The south isn't as developed as the north is. That's why while they have these resources that are that could potentially make them rich, they don't have any access to infrastructure or any developed roads even to benefit from it. I thought that was very interesting to sort of look at. I mean, I urge everybody to research it just to be exposed to what's really going on.
Well, I know that it's been going on for some time, and it was I think wasn't there also at one point a drought or something? There was a humanitarian. You want to talk about that, Gonezie? The humanitarian crisis.
Yes, there was a humanitarian crisis with the drought with the oh my god, I don't know how to say in English.
Say it in French then, and maybe we can figure it out.
A flood, basically the lake. I don't know, the lake.
Oh, there was a flood. It flooded.
Yes. No. There was a drought with the lake, so there was no more water in South Sudan. So it was even harder to find because we had to go even under the ground to find a source of water.
Right.
Because there was a drought, so it was harder to find the water, and it was very devastating for this region of Africa.
So it's like a cluster of things. There is the religious piece, there is the economic piece, there's the post-colonial issues, and on top of it, we've got a drought. It almost seems like a series of plagues. So, wow, Sudan, are you? Why that town? Is there a particular reason why in this particular initiative that town was chosen?
Salva Duke, the founder of Water for South Sudan. He was one of the what they called the Lost Boys, who traveled during one of the I think after the first Civil War. He took this trek along with a lot of maybe like there's not a real number. It's like upwards of 10,000 teenagers who just walked through the desert to the nearest refugee camp in Ethiopia, and then from there they went to I think it was Europe, and then some of them came to the U.S. Their story was shared on national networks during the time. There's also a hidden story about the lost girls of Sudan, which it wasn't really spoken about because a lot of it had to do with trafficking and things of similar, of that nature, which it didn't really get a lot of light shined on it. But we heard a lot about the lost boys of Sudan who, they traveled through the desert. They made it to safety. He came to the U.S., became a citizen, studied in Rochester, New York. And when he heard that his father was sick back home because of a waterborne disease, he went back, started this nonprofit organization to get them clean water. So that's really what started the Water for South Sudan.
Yeah. Yes. Gonezie, you're saying yes. Did you want to add something to it? Yes. What do you want to add?
Yes, there was a book called A Long Walk to Water, written by Lindia Support and Professor Tuli Chattery, showed it to the English 101 class. So they started with that. So in the class, we learned about what was going on, the wider crisis in South Sudan, and that's when the initiative really came. So basically, we learned in class, and then we had to take actions and actually act with the initiative. So
yeah, I think I was actually at that event where the author basically wrote. I think she and her husband came and spoke and about the whole project and getting involved, because did she have a relationship with the gentleman you had spoken about, one of the lost boys, that he had been like a stepson, or he had been like a I don't know, foster child?
Yes.
And so that's how they found out about it, and they actually went to the Sudan and visited or something and wrote this book. It's all coming back to me. Sorry. This is what happens.
But you see how important it is to share your story, and why it's so important for everybody to have a voice. He came from a country that most people are like they don't even know about it. Regardless, like Sudan, we even mention it as Sudan. We don't mention South Sudan. It's a divide. There's two different states there now.
Now.
Yeah,
right.
And that's been like that for about a decade now. And it's going to take some time before they develop as an own nation. But he shared his story with these people who welcomed them into his home, and it's growing and it's continuing to grow. And now so many people are getting involved with it, and that's how change happens with this effort, this collaborative and engaged effort.
And I was going to say that, but again, the village that was chosen, was this because his father was from that village, or was it just one of many villages that
in that region,
that these folks are working with?
That region in particular has a lot of villages in it, and a lot of people who need access to water.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because if you take my art and society course, you might know about the Sudan, because I talk about how basically the Egyptian culture was started by folks who came north from the Sudan. Like they followed the Nile north and brought a lot of the culture, one of the many cultures that affected Egypt. So it's like kind of the genesis of what we think of as ancient Egypt. Obviously, ancient Egypt is a little more complicated because it's 3,000. That particular civilization is about 3,000 years, and there are a lot of, even though they were surrounded by desert, they still had folks coming in. For example, Semites who moved in from what we call the Middle East, southwestern Asia, the Levant, and obviously then the Greeks came in, the Romans came in, but the original Egyptian culture traces itself back to the Sudan. So it's kind of like a birthplace, as is Ethiopia, for mankind. You might want to say, since Egypt is one of the four birthplaces of the Neolithic Revolution, we call it, when people started growing food as a result of access to water. Again, the Nile.
Another one was
the Nile flooded.
It's always water, yeah.
Because the Nile would flood, they could grow food until, of course, it would dry up, and then they would have to wait until it came back again. So the Sudan is a very important place. It's, by the way, it's 1:30. You're watching What's Going On. I'm your host, Hugo Fernandez, here on LaGuardia Radio, WLGR. And my two friends, my two guests are, hopefully they'll be friends after this, is Akrm Ahmed and Gonezie Ipo, who are LaGuardia students who have participated in the LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative's global project of providing clean water, hygiene, and sanitation to the villagers in South Sudan during the COVID-19 crisis here, and are sharing their experience of being a part of the project. Okay, so let's talk more about so you're handing out things, right? And you are raising money, and so how does this all come together into bringing water to WOW? Gonezie, you want to start? Or do you want Akrm to start? What's wrong?
Right,
Gonezie, I think Gonezie struggles a little bit with the language, maybe. So she is shyer. But
or maybe, I think.
Go ahead, Akrm. Go ahead.
So there's a college, I forgot her exact role, but she works with BARD students, and you know how LaGuardia is sort of home to two schools. It's a high school as well as college.
Oh yeah, the BARD. Yeah, the BARD. I forget what it's called. My daughter tried to go to that school, BARD Early College or something. Yeah, that's on the 9th floor of the B building.
Right, exactly. So I saw one of these people from Cyprus. I think it's called Cypress Tree. It's a nonprofit organization. She works with students to help them sort of make that transition from high school to college. And she needed help finding things in the building on campus. So she started doing this. I suggested a scavenger hunt, right? So she would go around and with these students and help them find the appropriate offices, like the admissions office, registrar, bursar, things like that. And when I was helping her with that, this was in, I think, January, so the second session of my first semester. And in that, I thought it was a really cool idea, a really good way to expose people to the layout of the college itself. One of the original ideas I had for Water for South Sudan was to do something similar around the water fountains, sort of similar, like a play on the fact that, we have to find water on campus. And students would be able to familiarize themselves with the layout as well as participate in this event that raises awareness for the issue that we're trying to tackle. Some of those ideas, again, didn't pan out as well because of the lockdown. We were all forced off campus, so we couldn't do that. And it's been really interesting finding ways around that to get student and faculty support. It's been real fun doing that too, to get engaged in this, because as soon as we were all restricted and limited to our own homes, the issue became, how do we connect with people via this, platform, this internet, where it's like really dependent on your internet connection to make a connection, right?
Which is a whole nother issue about socioeconomic issue.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And it exposed us to a lot of the challenges that we were overlooking in our own society, right? Many students had to take out laptops from LaGuardia, for CUNY in general, because they didn't have, the devices necessary to do their own work. The internet connection, these companies were forced to sort of compensate for that by providing free internet. I think they did it for 2 months, but it's definitely something that we need to address. And it's been hard to convince people to, even while they're going through this issue, right, and these very real issues, why should I worry or care about someone who's half a world away, and it's been fun trying to overcome those challenges.
What is the answer to that question you just made? Why should they care about somebody who's a half a world away? Sorry, I'm playing professor.
No, it's cool.
Or Gonezie, you can answer that question.
Because it's a global world, and even more with the COVID, because the COVID has touched all parts of the world. So now I feel like it's even more global, and it's even more closer, even though we don't see it that way. In my opinion, I feel like nowadays we have to worry about what's going on, maybe in Africa, maybe in Asia, to really understand the world and to go further together. I feel like.
Akrm, you want to add anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I definitely want to echo on that. I completely agree. We are a globalized world. Everything is connected now, and we're only going forward with that. The other reason I think it's important is because one of the stories that, again, my advisor, she's been awful. I just got to say it like that.
What's her name again?
Stefania Dinu. She shared a story because I asked her, like, how do you keep a positive attitude throughout this whole thing? And it's like she mentioned the story of the cobbler's son. I think it's something like the shoe cobbler. He makes shoes, and the whole point of the story is basically like there's always people who need more. You're going through what you're going through, but there's always someone who is going through something like not to dismiss what you're going through.
Is it the cobbler's shoe goes barefoot? Is that the?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like, meanwhile, we're struggling with internet access, and some people call it first world problems, right?
Right.
We have this
digital divide.
Right. We're over here struggling to make our way through this pandemic, and people don't even have access to water. I just got to keep bringing it back to that. And water is life, like you said. So
yeah,
like
I think
they don't have access to life.
The point is, whenever I start feeling sorry for myself, I try to make a list of all the things I should be grateful for. And that list gets long fast. And pretty soon I'm not crying,
But then when you compare it to what...
Yeah, I know.
I always kind of like this. It's like, it's not the... Because it sort of seemed like... I know there's a word for it. I'm just not getting it. But I'm not saying... Yeah, I'm not looking for... I'm not telling people, some people have it worse than you do. Because it sort of seems dismissive to me to be like, your problems aren't big, because they are.
Yeah, exactly. They are.
But at the same time, when you look at it in that context that you said, where you make a list of what you're grateful for, and you can even compare that to what people who are less fortunate are grateful for, and you'll realize that I'm grateful to have my vision. I'm grateful to be able to speak clearly, and I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful that I have a home. These things, like when you compare them, you see a stark difference where some people are very grateful for things that are rooted in economic stability, financial stability, and others are just grateful to be alive, grateful to be able.
Yeah, I think the pandemic has done that to a lot of us, that it's given us an opportunity to look at our lives, and because people are struggling in many ways, but they're also being grateful for other things that, spending time with our families, because we're all locked into these places together, a certain other type of things that we're grateful for. I want to get back, though, to the fundraising. And I don't know if, Chris, you wanted him to share one of these pages, because I was looking at the website. The goal was for $4,600, I saw. And we've raised almost that much, somewhere in the neighborhood of, 44 plus.
44. Yeah.
So
originally the goal was 15,000.
15. So we actually came down.
And then we brought it back up. We went down to 3,500, and we reached that really quickly, surprisingly, with this, distance learning and everything. And then we every $500 raised can support a hygiene program where it teaches the villagers how to maintain hygienic practices. For every $3,000, I believe, it rehabilitates an old well, and 15,000 will build a new well. So right now, because of the issues, they're not really letting people build new wells, but they are letting them repair the old ones and teach these programs.
So, and then Gonezie, you can chime in here too. So at the $4,600, what's going to happen is they're going to rehabilitate one well and provide 2 hygiene programs, right? This is what we're talking about. And tell us a little bit about so we know what the rehabilitation of the well might look like, but what does the hygiene programs entail, Gonezie?
So it's, for example, how to wash your hand properly, for example, or maybe just brush your teeth, not have any illness related to sanitation. And yeah, it's basically teaching kids how to, because they didn't have access to water, so all of the stuff were not taught and were not practiced. So it's basically to show them how to use the well and how to practice sanitation practice.
You're doing a great job, Gonezie, by the way.
You are, yeah.
Oh my God.
So I know it's a struggle to, speak in a second language, and particularly when it's about specific, unique vocabulary. So you're doing a great job, by the way. This water that from the rehabilitated well, does it have to be treated as well, or is it come out? Is this clean?
Not the cleanest. Yeah, it still has to be treated a little bit. But it is clean because it's coming from an aquifer 300 feet underground. It's a natural purification process.
Right.
One of the, I think, initiative programs that was constructed was to make these makeshift filters where they would put sand and charcoal, and it would sort of mimic the same filtration process. Very basic. You would still definitely need to boil water to make sure that there's no, pathogens in there. But it's definitely cleaner than the water that's available on the lakeside,
And because the fact that it is specifically in that town, it also means that children who ideally would be in school, right, do not have to find themselves, beasts of burden, as they call it, carrying the water miles from wherever it was that it might be available. Is that the?
It's a huge part of it because a lot of these, it's young. So one of the programs I wanted to mention, that hygiene education, it started off with women's hygiene and sanitation, sanitary disposal. So that's where it stemmed off from, and now it's focusing on cleaning hands and food safety, things like that. So it provides a robust amount of information. It's not just someone coming in and saying, "Hey, clean your hands," But back to the issue is that if a child is forced to walk 2 to 4 miles to get water, and that's only as much as a canteen can carry or a jug can carry, they'll have to perform that duty several times a day. So they're unable to attend school. There's no upward mobility in that sense, right?
Right.
When we give them access to water like this, it alleviates them from that pressure, and they can focus on their school, on schoolwork. They can focus on other areas of life that they otherwise wouldn't have.
And sorry, Gonezie, go ahead.
There are also installation of toilet facility and also primary schools. So with the program, there's also the school program. So it's very helpful for Total and villages.
And obviously this is a major issue in the South Sudan because of the drought and a lot of other issues. This is a global issue. This is and I hate to say it, one that's going to get worse, because I think that access to clean water is something that's becoming a bigger issue as a result of climate change, as a result of pollution that's actually fouling area. I mean, we know that it happens even here in the United States, particularly in the West, particularly where the indigenous folks live in reservations. For example, the Navajo, this is a major issue for them as well. So you guys are touching on, I think about, you know how you take your class and you might find yourself writing or doing some project about a global factor, where you're just writing a paper about it. And I'm teaching one of those. I'm teaching one of those classes now, and they're putting it in the assessment. It's kind of fascinating because you're tackling a global factor head on.
I think I tried to during my semester's work, I was speaking with the professors via email and just asking them if I could sort of give a presentation during class about the Water for South Sudan initiative. And whenever I was given the opportunity to do so, a lot of the students were like, they would connect it to, Flint, or the, again, like you said, the Dakota pipeline. And
yeah,
it's interesting how everything is just like relevant. Everything is relevant.
I was going to play, there is a version of the song where it starts, that's available through Vivo, I think, where it talks about the Flint, Michigan issue. It ties it into other issues around Black Lives Matters and things like that. But the Flint, Michigan, yeah, that's a major issue. I'm going to start reading some stuff because we're in the last quarter hour. So I'm going to start reading some of the things that are coming in as chats. So Thule said, "So happy to see you all. Thank you. Yes, you got it." Thule, I guess he was saying I got her name right. Chatterjee. Then Jacqueline Yesti saying, "CUNY Service Corps is lucky to have you, Gonezie."
Oh, thank you.
Then she says, "I just want to mention that Gonezie volunteered to host a tabling session to talk to students and collect donations in early March. Her team collected about $200 within 3 hours. That's pretty good." Then Thule chimed in again, "CUNY Corps and ASAP rock." Okay, we knew that, but thank you. We have to say that again and again.
Yeah.
Then LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative needs you, Gonezie and Akrm. I think there's a lot of cheering going on in here. So let's see if there's a question yet. For any ASAP students in the audience, please complete survey at the end of the show for group advisement credit. And the link is tinyurl.com/LAGCC WFSS radio. So I'm getting a thank you.
Our benchmarks. We need to meet our benchmarks as ASAP students.
Yeah, Thule's also mentioning that I guess the South Sudan is the youngest country in the United Nations, just 9 years old. Then Nathaniel Sorio is asking, what are some of this projects developed during the semester? What are some of the projects developed during the semester? I don't know. Did we touch on that?
Oh, I don't think we did, no. That was mentioned during our capstone gala event that was on Thursday, past this Thursday. We showcased some of the student work. Some of them created these posters for flyers. The filtration project that I mentioned. There was a really fun stop motion film, that we played in the beginning. Students created these images out of clay. You're familiar with this, right?
Claymation.
Yeah. It was
I grew up on it. That's Gumby. One of my favorite shows as a child. Gumby and Pokey and all that stuff. Mr. Bill. Guy. Yeah. Also, so go ahead.
No, there was a lot of projects that were undertaken, and we're trying to get them incorporated more in the curriculum by getting faculty members involved. So if anyone out there is listening, student or otherwise, convince your professors to give you a project along these lines.
Yeah, but maybe we got to use that book as a what's called the common reader, where everybody reads it, and then faculty do activities in the classroom tied to the text. By the way, Thule also mentioned that this is only one of many villages that they're doing this work. Also, it's saying LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative is focused on water this semester. Next semester, the tentative plan is immigration refugee crisis,
Oh.
which I'm sure you could. There's one in the Sudan, South Sudan as well for that. Also, rehabilitation, one well, and provide 3 hygiene workshops. They will start work because we are very close to reaching $4,500. Another excellent Gonezie. And then Nathaniel Sorlo is also asking the question, so why is civic engagement important? Did we talk about that already? By saying like why
Indirectly, yeah.
Well, you want anything you would add to that add to that question, to that answer?
Yeah, definitely. Civic engagement is important because power is achieved in different ways. There's forceful power; it's usually violent that you see these, militarized sort of form of power. There's monetary power. There's financial, where you have a lot of money, and for the most part, the common folk don't have access to these in large numbers. But what we do have are those large numbers. And civic engagement and collaboration is how we respond to power. That is our power. Civic engagement allows for power to the people, for the people, by the people. That's what democracy is, and that's what life is. It's us coming together to overcome our hardships.
So we take our power. Gonezie, anything you would add to that too? Why? Again, his question of why is civic engagement important?
I feel like we should, just as human, we should at least try to help each other and get involved into those organizations, because it's very needed, and somebody in the world needs it. So if we can, it will be very helpful.
Yes, and we're all connected, right?
Mm-hmm.
When something happens to somebody around the world, it's happening to us as well. And I think one of the things we found out through this the pandemic is how much we need each other. How we need to cooperate, right? And how something that happens, around halfway around the world is going to affect us, and we need to be involved, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any more questions coming in, but we're moving to the end of our time. So we got about 5 minutes. Do we need to? Chris, were we ever able to? I haven't seen any images on the Twitch stream, but how can people donate? We've still got time. We got to hit that $4,500 mark. So what do people do? How do they donate?
They can visit us at our Facebook page or our Instagram page to get the link. There's also the Classy.org.
He's just Chris put up the LaGuardia page. Hooray!
Perfect. Yeah, and any donation would be helpful.
Right. We got to beat these other people over there. There's some other. We're in competition with another group that's got 46. We got.
Yeah. What's really cool about it is that a bunch of these schools across America have been really donating, and it's become sort of a little bit of a competition. I think the last time I checked was in March or April. We were 14th on the list, which is relatively high. There are thousands of other schools participating. But Water for South Sudan let us know on Thursday that we were the only college during the pandemic to raise the money needed for relief. So that's pretty exciting.
Rock on. Dare to do more.
That's our logo, right?
Right. Yeah, it is for now. With the new president coming in, I don't know if it'll become something else, but for now, we persist in that. So, anything else? I mean, I guess at this point, and any last kinds of things you want to say, people you want to thank, or anything else messages you want to leave us with? Gonezie, you go first.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you first. And thank you, Professor Tully. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, the CUNY Service Corps. Thank you, the ASAP. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Water for South Students. And yes.
Okay.
I agree. I echo on everything. Thank you, ASAP. Thank you, CUNY Corps, for getting students involved and giving them some of the skills they'll need in the real world. Thank you to everybody that's been a part of the initiative. Thank you, Hugo, Fernandez, everyone listening next week and every week after that. And if you have the money to spare, you already have access to clean water from a faucet, but you choose to spend $2 to $7 on a clean bottle of water, whether it be, these name brands or not. Put some of that money to the side, share it with someone who can use it for basic hygienic purposes. Help your fellow man, woman. We are in this together.
Yeah, you touched upon another issue, which is, of course, that we did. When I was growing up, if you bought, I lived in South Florida, and South Florida has the problem that their water table is very high. You dig a foot into the ground, you hit water, but that water is easily polluted. So we used to drink water out of it, but you buy yourself like a gallon thing. It wasn't pretty, and it didn't taste particularly well. Now, of course, most people drink their bottle, like you said, out of a plastic bottle, which is having a different kind of impact. So that may be one of the next projects we need to work at. But I just want to thank the two of you. I'm always impressed by our students, but the work that the two of you are doing and how well you know about this work and the ability that you can talk about it in more than one language is exciting. I also want to thank Thule for suggesting this. And, interestingly enough, typically I would have had a faculty member, but having two students who participate in it kind of changes the energy and makes it even more interesting. And, again, I'm always proud of LaGuardia students, whether they're my students or not in my class. I'm always impressed. And the two of you, are chips off the old block of LaGuardia doing this good work. So if you've been watching today, that's what's going on. I'm your host, Hugo Fernandez, here on LaGuardia Web Radio, WLGR. And my guests today have been Akrm Ahmed and Gonezie Ipo, who are two LaGuardia students who participated in the LaGuardia Humanitarian Initiative's global project of providing clean water, hygiene, and sanitation to the villagers in South Sudan during the COVID-19 crisis, one of the only colleges to honor their commitment and was able to do it through this crisis. And they shared their experiences today of being part of the project. Thank you again. And we will go out as we came in today. Mr. Pope, take us out with some music. Thanks for watching and listening.